Yngwie Malmsteen. That was a tribute to Mark Moloughney there, who actually likes John Petrucci, but I'm not a theater guy. And I love John Petrucci, but I don't know any Dream Theater songs. I haven't played those Yngwie Malmsteen songs in probably 20 years. No offense to Mike Galasso. I figured them out about 10 minutes before the show. But that was first, I'll See the Light Tonight. And then I Am a Viking. I've Gone Out to War. I've Got Death Upon My Mind is how that song goes. Everyone, please welcome to our weekly exploration of and in excellence. We call it Loser's Lunch. And here is just about the biggest loser we can find to join us.
Turns out two losers without lunch. So I don't get it. And by the way, you don't have a collared shirt on. That was part of the requirements for me to be on this program. But I'm glad you chose Yngwie instead of John Petrucci, because I think every Dream Theater song is like 24 minutes long anyway. And I think that might have taken up, the whole show. And we need to give you at least 25, 26 minutes to talk.
To get going, to get warmed up. Yeah, everything is a fucking opus number 73 by John Petrucci, sitting there noodling for 63 minutes.
Best guitar player voted by Guitar Player magazine for pretty much the last 2 decades. So he's pretty good. If you haven't heard of Dream Theater or John Petrucci, you should definitely pick up Images and Words or any other Dream Theater album. Awake. There are a bunch of great albums by them.
Yeah, I'm sure the pirate is excited about hearing all this Dream Theater talk.
Of course.
I remember the Dream Warriors. The Dream Warriors. Was that Dobson?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is all like a dream, as a matter of fact.
Of course. You're lucky to have me today.
Yeah. And just in case you're unfamiliar, Mark Moloughney is the Chief Technology Officer, the head beep boop bopper at EPM.
That's pretty much what we do over there.
Beep and boop and bop. So here we are, 10-year at 308. Mark, as I know you're aware, we'll start with some market commentary. Bonds are rallying nicely after getting shellacked on Friday. More on that in a moment. What do we got this week? Well, quiet day today, some employment numbers, some wholesale inventory and sales numbers. Those were mostly in line. Tomorrow, Red Book. We roll Fannies on Wednesday, mortgage market info, see where apps go to. They seem to hold up a little bit last week. CPI, the big one. Everybody can't wait. Forecast for CPI month over month is going to be 0.4, up a little bit is the estimate. Annual is actually supposed to come in at 6, which is actually slightly down. The core is supposed to be 0.2, I believe. Cleveland Fed, then the 10-year note auction. So that's like sort of a good one. Whenever you're at the high or the low of a range, you like to see the auction, see what the demand is, see where we strike. There's a chance we rally off that auction, by the way. Thursday is the PPI, producer prices. Of course, jobless claims, 30-year bond auction. And then inflation outlook, import-export prices, and consumer sentiment, which has been easing on Friday. So somewhat of a quiet week, certainly relative to last week, other than the CPI. Don't really know what that matters. In my opinion, we got everything we needed to know with the ISMs. And I know that sometimes I sound like a broken record, but just there are things that matter and things that matter less. And I just don't think that the CPI matters right now. By the way, it's like eyewitness weather. If it's raining outside, bring an umbrella. We get it. There's fucking inflation. I don't need to hear any more about it. It's probably peaked. Okay. All the economic data is worsening. We printed negative GDP in the first quarter. High prices can't persist in those circumstances. But here we are.
I don't think you can just ignore it though, Phil. What are you going to pay for a Christmas tree this year after what you paid for it last year? It's going to be more.
Here's the answer. I'm not, because I bought a fake one. Oh, see? Nice. See, because I behave the way consumers behave nowadays. Back in the old days, we would sort of stay the course. Now,
I don't think every consumer acts that way, though. When you have folks that don't make a lot of money, they're the first ones to buy a new iPhone, first ones to get a new car. People spend on things that they use regularly instead of, needs and necessities.
Well, you bring up a good point, and we could talk about the iPhone later, and probably should, given your supposed tech expertise. So I'm going to
alleged
tech expertise. But here's what I'll say about that, just to touch on that for a second. The iPhone, which has been an outlier in terms of being able to sustain what would be considered a high price, okay, I see as the bellwether, the hallmark of the new economy in this regard. Folks can't spoil themselves the way they used to, generally speaking, last 2 years notwithstanding. The iPhone is an incredibly cheap, guilty pleasure. That's my opinion.
Especially for the use of it, right? And what you get out of it. 100%. People make a living on the iPhone now. I can't tell you how many people, work in doing podcasts or YouTube or, or influencers with a phone, walk around with a phone.
It's really a trick that great decorators, designers, whether it be house or clothing, do, which is you get sort of one key piece, one pivotal piece of furniture that may be expensive, and then you build around it, and then nobody thinks that that's a $20 ottoman with a $20 million sofa, right? Yeah. Because why would anybody do that? Well, because you can't. Most people don't have the means to spend a lot of money on everything. So it's like one of the great secrets of wine, for example. Now, I know that we equate champagne to opulence and riches and success. The reality is, it's one of the varietals that is cheap on a relative basis. Now, what do I mean cheap? Well, a bottle of Ace of Spades is $350, a bottle of Cristal is $300, a bottle of Dom is $185, and so on and so forth. Compare that to a bottle of Petrus at 10 grand, a bottle of DRC at 30 grand. The world's best champagne is like sub $500. That's why Billy Joel used to get.
I just drink Diet Coke, so I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
I'm talking about the greater. I'm talking about the guilty pleasures.
But I'll tell you that even that industry has been disrupted by technology as well, and the measurement of the soil and the nutrients in the soil, the humidity. It's all science now. And, it's funny when I talk to other people about technology and where it's going, and you hear about certain industries like, athletic sports, baseball, they say, oh, it's getting back to the old game. It in reality it's changed the game so much. And, you have analytics that are insane. And if you watch the hockey playoffs, after every shift, they're grabbing an iPad or a Microsoft Surface to see where people were at a certain time. It's just entering everything that we're doing now. And it's weird watching like the NASDAQ get crushed right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bitcoin.
Old Tech Meet, New, thanks for the shout out there. You said a lot there. I just want to really quick touch on some of last week's. He is from Sea Caucus, the swamp. Just to touch on some of this stuff.
I'm from Fort Myers now, by the way, just as an FYI.
But some of the stuff that printed last week, that was post, no, it's never happened really.
It actually has happened plenty of times, by the way, Frank. First time I ever played Isleworth, Phil and I both shot 80. By the way, it was a great day.
It was a great day. Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. But the data last week, ADP missed, folks. This was post losers lunch. ADP missed. Okay. I do. Who said that? That was a quick flash. I am from Windermere, by the way. ISM services missed. Prices paid were actually lower. The Fed did what we asked them to do, folks. Other than the fact that I really wanted them to hike a point and just be done with it, okay? The Fed was actually fairly dovish in spots and said that they were going to follow the data, okay? DATER for my Sea Caucus friend. You're going to follow the data. And if you're following the data, it's getting worse. So what are we selling bonds for? What are we worried about in the markets? The data will be weak by October. It's already weak. Book it. Okay? Book it. What else came out last week after losers lunch? And then, of course, the sham non-farm payroll. That pretty much came in on target. Work week missed. Wages missed. Unemployment rate went up. And here we are, everybody shitting their pants for no reason. There's some big block trades that happened Friday. Japan is killing us, okay? And what they're doing is they're just, at some point, the data, yes, DADA. At some point,
it looks like Kevin Delory has been spending too much time with his daughter the last few days. Spent the whole weekend with his 5-year-old. So I guess all he heard was Dada. So that's what he's going with.
You know what it was? It wasn't Father's Day, Kevin. It was Mother's Day. But you are a mother, so it's probably fitting and appropriate. Okay.
No, I think what you say is accurate, Phil. But I think the world has changed significantly now in how people think about investing. It's always the hot minute, and people don't invest long term anymore.
It's one of the things, and
not only Japan, by the way, but Russia's like doing some damage right now to everybody.
100%.
In case you haven't noticed,
And we were talking with Bill about this a little bit last week, okay, about how the consumer behaves, or about how too many options, according to this study in Japan, is actually bad for consumers. It made them less happy. And about dealing more in emotion and about consumption. So let's get back to this iPhone thing, okay? And this is something that I've talked about now for quite some time, which is growing up in a middle-class to upper-middle-class household, okay? So we didn't have a ton of money, but we weren't poor by any stretch. My father owned a business, and there were ebb and flows in the business. And we had essentially one television for the longest time. I had a little black and white portable TV that I, set up on a chair in my bedroom if the Yankees were on. Okay. Then, we had gotten a second. For a long time, we had one car, and then we had two. My first car was this gold 77 Thunderbird with an 8-track tape. Okay. And then the story I always tell, where I got my first real car, the Ford Probe, because my father didn't want to get the Mustang 5.0 because the insurance was going to be too much if I drove it. And then after I got the Probe, went out and got the Mustang anyway. But the point of it was so I'm driving to Rutgers with my buddy Tim, and the brakes give out on this old beater. And going about 40 miles an hour. Okay. Correct. The minted toothpick bunny. I smash into somebody from behind going 40. No, the Mets stink, by the way.
First place, and haven't lost a series yet this year, by the way. So, and the Yankees are playing well too. So my biggest nightmare that may come to fruition is Yankees-Mets Subway Series again. Ooh. And then I have to watch them clobber the Mets again.
Watch Roger Clemens throw a bat at the juiced up Mike Piazza's head.
Right, juiced up. I mean, by the way, Roger Clemens, really nice guy. So it's nice that we mention him.
He's a super guy. Yeah. And smashed into this person going 40 because the brakes gave out. And then I went home and I said to my parents, "Were you trying to fucking kill me? I mean, this is ridiculous." And then there you go. Phillies. Yeah, Bryce Harper hit the home run and said Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, that was great. By the way, we won the second game. Just a FYI, one of the biggest comebacks ever for the Mets, down 7-1 in the ninth. And we came back and beat the woeful Phillies, we'll call them. So, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
The end of the story was the person either was here illegally or didn't have a driver's license, jumped out of the car, looked at their bumper. So now I'm driving a tank, so there's not a scratch on this thing, okay? This person, the back of the car was like caved in. She jumps out and she looks at the bumper and she goes, "That's only a scratch, go." Because I don't think she had insurance.
Wow.
Meanwhile, her neck, she was like this, half paralyzed. She just said, "Go."
Nice. Or at least that's what you wanted to hear.
Sure. And then
I got your first hit and run.
And then I got a new car. They made the down payment. I had to make the monthly payment. They paid for the insurance and made the down payment. I made the monthly payment on the Ford Probe. Red Ford Probe stick. Got the Alpine. So bring it back to music. Got the Alpine removable stereo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And used to listen to Van Halen.
My first car was a Eagle Talon.
Oh, well, that was a Mitsubishi
Eclipse, like a Mitsubishi Eclipse. Yeah. Super fast, nice car.
All-wheel drive, if I'm not mistaken.
All-wheel drive, absolutely.
See, that's what we used to drive in Jersey.
In New Jersey. Yeah, you had to have
loud music. Yeah. Loud music, sports cars. We'd maybe soup them up a little bit. My father used to drag race on Route 46.
Yeah, drive down to Seaside or Sleeside Heights and, pick it up on the Parkway going 140.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but back in the 50s, my father used to drag race on Route 46 out by, and then they'd go get Hiram's and Callahan's. Anybody from Jersey remember Hiram's or Callahan? I was a Callahan's guy.
So big, so good. I'm a Callahan's guy too.
Yeah.
In fact, we should open one of those up down here in Florida.
Awesome. That and Tedesco's. Do you remember they used to have the best pizza and mussels over in Guttenberg or whatever, Union City?
I was right in Secaucus.
Years later,
Snappy Nappies for hot dogs too, by the way, right there.
Snappy Nappies
at the railroad crossing in between North Bergen and Secaucus, right there. Later became the naval base.
Can't talk about. I never went to the naval base myself. Not my type of establishment, but I know many people who like the naval base.
Good time.
Yeah, boy, the good old days. Growing
So by the
up
way, I keep breaking in, and Kevin keeps telling me not to, but I have a bet with Kevin that I'm actually going to get
you're
my
not getting
time up on here more than 5 minutes that he got. So
I can mute you, by the way, and we got to break it. A different Tedesco, actually. It's a different Tedesco who we became very close friends with, lived around the corner in Wayne. My kids went to school with their kids, close friends. Tedesco married into that family. I keep asking him for the recipe. I can't get it. 140 is not that fast. Now, by the way, you can understand looking at Mark why he's talking about hamburgers and hot dogs.
love
But
him.
for those of you keeping score,
I was the lighter guy at one time. Remember?
This is me at the Oldsmobile Scramble in 2001. Okay. Mark and I had a golf bet shortly thereafter. And
$100 it cost me.
And tell them who won the golf bet.
Phil Mancuso. He bet me that he would be able to lose, I think it was like 50 pounds. And I bet him $100, and he did.
In like 2 months, dude.
And I paid up, by the way.
And he paid.
And it was the best $100 I ever spent, because now look at you and how healthy you are. God forbid you take that bet with me.
A mile.
I don't know about a mile, but he couldn't putt for anything.
I was always a good putter. Always a good putter. That is the Phil that used to drive the ball over 300 yards. Now I hit it like a Swift, not an Oompa Loompa. Oompa Loompas are short, by the way.
Right.
Short and orange. So
I was last week. I was out in the sun again and didn't have suntan lotion on, so I was a little red. So.
Is Mark the Oompa Loompa, or do you mean me, Kev? Mark is definitely more like an Oompa Loompa. There's no doubt about it.
I'm a little taller than an Oompa Loompa. I think Kevin's got the Oompa Loompa size.
I've got another message for you. If you live in...
Listen, if I could live in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory, I'd be a happy guy.
Oh, my God. You know, we thought about at one point... At one point, we thought about getting Mark. Nice.
This is going sideways.
We thought about getting Mark an asbestos shirt for when he ate, because the sparks that would fly off of the knife and fork going so fast. I mean, it was
not true.
So we have. Before we talk about tech for a second in our last 7 minutes, because Jenna has better things, furniture and all this other bullshit. There's a story that we'll tell. Gentleman that Mark and I used to work with, speaking of food, his name was Mike Lamparillo. Look it.
Napkin.
So Mike is a guy that I used to know from back in the day. We are going to hear about Cork. So Mike came to work with us at a previous employer.
And he was jacked. He worked out every day.
And an old-time guy, really good salesman. Now he's a branch manager somewhere. Somebody sees Mike, say hi.
He's got a weird work week, though. From when
he does have a weird work week. It's fucking Wednesday. So we go out to lunch, and what was the name of that place? It was like a chain Italian place.
Olive Garden. No, Olive Garden. Yeah, it was Olive Garden.
Not Olive Garden. No, the place that's like just in North Jersey. Anyway, so we're getting
Macaroni Grill or something.
No, it wasn't Macaroni Grill.
It was one of those.
The server comes over, and Mike looks at the server and he goes, "Napkin." So we were sort of taken back by, we have time. We know what the Carrabba's either. Good guess, though. So we're like, so after the server leaves, and we're like, it was like the rudest napkin you've ever heard. So and Mike wasn't a super rude guy either. So
he said thank you.
Yeah.
He got the napkin.
That's what happened was. So then the server comes back with the napkin, and then he says the nicest thank you you've ever heard.
Yeah,
all of a sudden he became English. He became British like Madonna. He's like, does his tie with the powdered wig, and he's like, Oh, why, thank you very much. So we look at Mike and we're like, dude, what the fuck? And he looks at us, serious, dead serious. He says, I never say please, but I always say thank you.
Words to live by.
Words to live by. I never say, can we put that up on the screen? I never say please.
But I always say thank you.
But I always say thank you. And then there was this other one where he went to leave. So we were trying to have a conversation. Someone will go unnamed, was trying to have a conversation with Mike. And it was Wednesday, right? And he said to me, come on. He goes, you're ruining my weekend, is what he says to him, okay? And then it took a second to process, because this is like 11 o'clock on Wednesday morning. And the guy looks at Mike and he goes, it's fucking Wednesday. And that was that story. But so hold on. Before we talk about the iPhone, we got to talk about HPA for Frank the Tank, Frankie Wholesale. Okay. Jenna, do you have that chart that you could throw up on the screen, please? Thank you very much. So this is housing appreciation for the last 20 odd years. Okay. Now you may notice,
so you know what's coming.
Not Luigi's. It was like a 5-letter name. There's one in Florham Park, if somebody wants to Google that. So
Mario's.
No. So
Godfather.
No.
Godfather?
No. Godfather, they had some good stuff there, though.
They did have good stuff.
16% housing appreciation, round numbers, in the build-up to 2008. And then we saw a decline. We had more than that last year, and look at the forecast. Similar sort of decline. So if we took this chart out to 24, 25, 26, and folks, I mean, I got to tell you something. We're talking about the supply of housing. We're talking about prices. And we're talking about how we've got another 5-year run in housing. I don't see it. I don't see it. And this chart doesn't see it. Middle of 24 at the latest is when prices are going to peak. But here's what I'm going to say. You shouldn't put off. No, but that's a really, really good guess. That is a really, really good guess. Who was that said that? Somebody from EPM. This should not put you off from buying a house. Jenna, okay. Yeah, that was a really, really good guess, Jenna. But no. We're going to figure it out when we're off the air, by the way. You should get the asset before it continues to go up. You're going to be able to refinance your mortgage. This chart is an example. All the data is an example. All the calls for a recession are an example. But what you could see here was from 2000 to about 2004, there was about a bunch of nothing. We sort of flatlined. We're in a range. Then boom, then bust, then recovery, then a bunch of nothing, then boom, then bust, then recovery. So the cycle, if we can believe it, is going to sort of crash around 24, 25, couple of years to recover. And then, by the way, if we continue to appreciate this chart shows you why you shouldn't wait to buy a house. The same way you should have diamond fucking hands. Stop selling stocks, people. Because houses are worth more today than they were worth before. Who cares what happens in the middle?
Everybody's a short-term investor now, Phil. That's the problem.
It's a home. It's where you make memories. It's the roof over your head, not an investment. Stop thinking about your house as an investment. It's your home. If you happen to do well also, great. Let's look at your investment in Starbucks. See what that coffee is doing for you. Thank you, Frank. What is that coffee doing for you? What's their investment in your $8 latte every day? No.
Look at Amazon.
Hopefully they'll just quit, though.
when the bubble burst, Amazon went down to nearly nothing. And if you owned Amazon from then, you're doing pretty well now.
Right. Now they're gonna Florham Park Italian. What was the name of that strip?
Was it Luigi's?
It wasn't. It was like a simple name.
I don't know.
You know who knows is Scott, and I know that Scott's not watching because he would say.
Are we going to talk about? You want to talk about core at all, or
I want to talk about core. Let's talk about core. Being that now we're into bonus time.
Yep.
Because
so now we get to talk about
Jenna
core.
said we don't have to.
Jenna can shut us down on any minute now.
She can't. She does not have the power.
We know how many viewers did we have this so far, Jenna?
Too many.
Too many.
All right, tell me about core. Everybody's been hearing about core. I'm going to Google. I'm going to go fewer than last week because everybody liked Bill Lyons. No one was excited about you being on the show, by the way. Tell me about core.
So core, and if you remember, Phil, we had a technology panel at our broker summit, and we basically took a lot of negative feedback around our Encompass TPO portal. And core is what came out of that technology panel. And it's our answer to the built-in Encompass TPO portal. It's much more elegant. It allows brokers and any folks that work in a loan to work from anywhere on any device and any screen. And it's our answer really to, I think, where everything is headed, right? Everything is going mobile. If you drive past, a group of kids at a field somewhere or standing at a bus stop, at 70 to 80% of them are looking at their phone. And
Benzie was the name of the place.
Benzie, that was it. Yeah, I remember that place. Yeah, that was the one up on the corner.
Yeah.
I think that was a.
You see, everybody watches this show on tape delay. That's
right?
why that very few, because it's lunchtime. They're getting lunch.
It's true. It's probably not scheduled as well as it could be.
Yeah, I blame Jenna for that. But
we should do like a 7 p.m. or an 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's our answer to giving people their lives back. I can't tell you how many times that we've done this, and I'm in technology, so I really don't have a gripe over it. But getting up from the dinner table to do work, or leaving to run out to the car to grab a laptop, while I'm at a kid's game or something, those are the things we want to try to eliminate. We want everyone to be able to work from their phone, and do something really quick, or update a loan file in seconds or minutes, rather than having to take time away from the family. And we've released it. We have a bunch of brokers testing it right now and running with it. Hopefully we'll get some loans in it and be able to roll it out to a wider audience.
So folks, if you're watching and you're a broker of EPMs, and I know that we've been intentional about this not being an advertisement for EPM, but or for anything else. But that being said, throw a couple loans into core, and it's an exciting technology, because one of the things that we keep talking about here on Losers Lunch, and it's been a really fun episode, and I thank you for that, Mark. But we like to grow and so how do people find out about core, Mark?
I think epm.net/core.
Yeah, and you can hit up Kenny Phillips for sure, Frank the Tank, Lord Delroy.
Let me give you the real, maybe EPM Brokers.
Hey, Lord, why don't you flash your contact info up there?
Yeah, it's epmbrokers.com/core.
.com or .net?
epmbrokers.com/core, not epm.net. So if you can pull that banner down, Jenna, there you go. Perfect. Thank you.
There we go.
And you can get more info there and see it, and sign up and join the waiting list, and we'll get you guys started, and gals.
Yeah. But it's something we've been talking about, folks, and we could sort of, there it is, keep Kevin in it. Can we get him Lord at Yeah, here's a funny story, folks. Have I told the story on Loser's Lunch? So we're at the Masters, and
I gotta imagine you had him on. You had to have talked about it.
No, I never. Kevin hasn't been on Loser's Lunch.
He
Kevin,
hasn't?
when are we going to book you for Loser's Lunch?
Kevin's been on Loser's Lunch. Would you forget about him already?
He was not on Loser's Lunch.
He absolutely was.
Jenna, do we have an episode of Kevin? He was? Oh, shit. So did we tell I mean, the weeks just fly by. I'm getting old. After them. So we told the master story about King Delroy.
Yes, I'm sure you have.
He was an unmemorable guest. That is right. That is Kenny. No, it was. Well, you know what it was.
By the way, I can attest to this
short-term
memory loss is a real thing for people our age.
Well, I had a couple of concussions, so
yeah, I believe. Yeah, no.
And Frank, it's only no. It was the episode right after. Now I remember. Boy, I mean, it's been a fun. The time flies. So we try to be constructive on this. There is Kevin at EP. Keep that up there, Kevin at EPM.net. But so what we're talking about is, look, the commoditization of everything is somewhat inevitable. Okay. What we've been trying to promote, he didn't get a chance to talk.
I'm winning that bet, by the way. Killed it. Absolutely killed. You got to get your words in.
What we've been trying to, no one would understand what you had to say anyway if you did with that accent of yours. One of the things that we try to talk about is how to leverage technology, okay, to make you more efficient. If you could build value for your customers, whether they be brokers or borrowers or what have you, home buyers, instead of using technology to replace you, use technology to empower you. That's what we've been advocating. We talked about it at EPMX. Thank you. We talked about it here weekly. And it's really about, look, we've been bullshitting. Mark and I know each other since 1996. Okay. So clearly this is going to be a bit of a different episode, but in a lot of ways, it's not. Okay. In a lot of ways, this is what we're talking about. Okay. Mark is at EPM because of our prior relationship. Without that prior relationship, I wouldn't even know who Mark was. He'd just be stuffing his face with a bunch of Diet Cokes and hamburgers.
It's I think buffalo chicken fingers is what I used to.
And buffalo chicken fingers.
They're the best.
And he gets it all over his white shirt like an animal.
Never. By the way, that's why this white shirt is now this color. So.
That was originally a white shirt, and now it's chicken wing flavor.
Anybody that knows me knows that I don't miss my mouth, so it's all just fun. But the reality is this is technology is not going to replace people. There are always going to be people. Although I do really strongly feel Alexa and Siri will take over the world and just have conversations with each other. You'll start seeing that happen soon. I know she talks to me. Siri talks to me every time I play golf. She even said LOL when I hit a bad shot. So they understand things. And I don't normally hit bad shots. So it was very timely and made me really think. But no, really what we're doing with technology is to solve the issues that we wouldn't normally be able to solve with what we were using. So Encompass's TPO portal
cleaning up after Mike C.
Yep.
Probably fair.
Yeah, our TPO portal had a number of problems, and we weren't able to change it, but we were able to build our own on top of Encompass that allows us a lot more maneuverability, and we're fixing things for those folks.
Stick to tech, just in case the tech doesn't work out. Siri can't. because he keeps it's his fat wrist. He keeps hitting the little, you talk about how much. We could end on this. No matter how perfect you think you are, you talk about how much science goes into developing the Apple Watch. They want you to use the Apple Watch to do things, yet they put the crown. This is how bound we are by our own convention. Here's actually a good segue to next episode. So I got Mike and Max Covery from AMS on the next episode.
And no one knows who they are. And they're definitely not going to get as many viewers as I had. But I'll pump them up and try to get some folks out.
Let's try to get the viewers. Season. So what
Good
Mike
golfer, Mike Covery, by the way. Good golfer.
Excellent golfer. What Mike has been doing on Instagram a lot lately is posting listings for his realtors that he has relationships with, thinking outside the box. And sometimes we're so fucking petrified by our own convention, right? That is true, by the way, that we don't think outside the box. So,
by the way, Kevin Delory shot like 125.
Oh my God. When I said to him, I'll tell the story when Patrick was here. I said, my ball was in front of Kevin's. I said, do me a favor, don't get my ball dirty. He then proceeds to he hits this ball so fat that I got a bill from Isleworth for the fucking earth that he moved. A divot goes right on top of my ball.
I believe it. The day I played with him up at the Woolwick Country Club, I teamed up with Kenny, and Kenny drilled Kevin into the ground. A complete mental breakdown by Kevin.
You don't have to go very far
not far.
To the ground. It's about 6 inches. But the thing about it was that we are so bound by our own convention because watches from time memoriam have a crown on them. Okay. They have to develop a watch with a crown. The fuck does an Apple Watch need to have a crown on it?
But you know what? The crown should be in the middle, Phil.
Recessed or something.
And you should be able to rotate for a lefty or a righty.
Right.
And this way, it doesn't affect anyone.
When you're swimming, playing golf, all the things that they want you to do, you stop hitting the goddamn crown.
Exactly. Yeah. It's listen, it's one of the things Steve Jobs probably hates about Apple right now, along with the fact that it doesn't autocorrect correctly. I don't know how many times you type good morning and it's like good moaning or something else. And
the autocorrect is the worst. And who the hell is Apple to tell me who to text?
Yes. Okay? Who's Microsoft to tell me who to send an email to?
Who? Oh, all right, listen. It's been a great episode, been tremendous fun. Thanks for the participation from everyone. Reach out to Kevin at EPMNet for Core. He'll take the call. And thank you, Eddie.
Phil, Jenna's got my address to send the check to. Just make sure it gets there pretty quickly, please.
We found your new co-host. Mark, do you play drums? No, he plays the bongos like Kamala the Ugandan giant on his stomach.
Frank Messi plays drums. See, of course he does.
And this is what we're talking about. Nice, yes. This is what. Thanks, Corbin. This is what we're talking about, though, folks. It doesn't have to be work. You can have fun. You can build a business. There is no work-life balance. You know, we endeavor to want to decommoditize what we do. What we do is important, folks. We create memories for people. We're the impetus behind that. When we put them in a home, not a house.
And it's also, we're under attack too, Phil. We're under attack. People are buying up homes. Companies are buying up homes, leasing them out and charging, crazy lease rates. The industry's under attack. We need to take it back.
Thank you, Fidel. Okay, everybody.
All right, Phil, you're welcome.
Note, I'm going to go eat loser's lunch.
Phil, it's we went 15 minutes over, so make sure that check's padded, please.
Thank you. Jenna, thanks for changing you knew that the episode couldn't be contained by 30 minutes. Yeah, it's a problem, Kev.
It's happening. There's big companies that are doing that too, by the way. Same thing's happening in Atlanta. There are giant companies buying up all the homes.
And you wonder how we have these bubbles and these busts. And then when they put all the houses on the market, thank you, Frank, then they're going to be like, oh, shit, look at home prices. We told you.
Yeah. And, well, by the way, they're all going to get crushed and lose money, and then the government's going to bail them all out.
Well, I got to go to my Illuminati meeting, so this way I could help set the tone for the next 15 years. We did that with the 39%. Now, I mean, look, I joke, right? But you know, I've said this, and we talked about the seasonality of rates. This isn't a mistake, okay? When I was talking about recession back in the October, November, December episodes, and everyone's like, you're fucking crazy. It's like, it's in the tea leaves. We just unplug from the matrix. That's all we need to do. Mark, you're a gem.
You're a gem. Thank you again for inviting me on Two Losers Without Lunch. By the way, I didn't get lunch, so include a little extra in your check for that. But great playing of Yngwie Malmsteen. It was a good jog of the memory. Hopefully I don't have to come back on the show anytime soon to pump up your ratings, but you're doing a great job for somebody out there.
Thank you.
Love you.
Until next week, everyone, listen. There's a great meme or whatever on Instagram right now. And the guy is like, I'm telling you right now, don't come to me for price. I don't say my work is the best. That's somebody that values what they're doing. Create value. You reap what you sow. If you create value, if you talk about value, the price shoppers aren't going to find you. The reason why you have price shoppers is because you sell price. I'm going to go put on my slippers and go on my front porch and yell at the kids in the street.
Hello.
Thanks, everybody. Till next week. Crush
Bye
it.
all. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
You got it.
Thanks, everyone, for participating. And there Mark goes. They all leave early. They just go. They don't have to go. We go backstage.